The big Social Security topic is back in the headlines yet again, and this just so happens to be one of those issues that virtually no one wants to talk about it. It is vitally important to the point that it will impact all beneficiaries in a major way, including your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your finances, and your livelihood literally for the rest of your life. Well, just the other day, Representative Rich McCormick was out in an interview and he was talking about this, and I want to play the clip for you here in just a minute so you can hear for yourself exactly what he said about this. I'll give you a quick little hint. It's actually good for current beneficiaries and maybe not so good for those individuals that are younger generations, generally about 50 or younger, maybe not so good for them according to what he is saying and his plan around Social Security going forward. In fact, I have the clip right here on my phone. I'm going to play it for you. It's only about a minute and a half long. I'll play this clip for you, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the key details that he talks about within this clip. I'll pull those key points out for you. We'll discuss them a little bit further and why he is saying that it's probably decent for current beneficiaries, but yet younger generations, maybe not so much. So we're going to talk about all that in this video. Anyway, let's play the clip here. Again, this is Representative Rich McCormick. He was out in this interview. Again, it's only about a minute and a half long, and then I'll come back at the back side of that, and we'll talk about the details a little bit further. All right, here is Representative Rich McCormick talking about Social Security, the plan going forward. Maybe listen to this a couple times if you need to. Otherwise, I'll be back in just a minute and a half, and we will talk through the details of this a little bit further and pull out the key information that he discussed.
When will you fix Social Security for good? Because you know this, Congressman, and you and I have talked about this. Depending on whatever projection you want to look at, call it 2033, 34. You're not getting 100% of what you were expecting. Something's got to give. You either cut benefits, you raise the age, or print, or do something. So what would you tell George?
Well, first of all, I think the age hasn't been moved since basically the average person lives a lot longer now. We got to move the date, in my opinion. You have to change the tax reform a little bit, and we need to save Social Security. It could easily be done. We have bipartisan bills already in the pipe right now that could be passed. That actually are really good solutions. The problem is nobody wants to touch it because they think it's the third rail, that whoever wants to reform Social Security will be voted out of office. I think it's a coward's way out. I think last time we addressed this, nobody lost their job. We revised it. Everybody's fine. You just put in a grandfather clause. Anybody who's within 10 years doesn't get touched. Everybody else gets adjusted with reasonable concessions.
Yeah, I mean, in the primary, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley had talked about this, and you know how things went for them. So your idea is what? Say that again.
We have several bipartisan bills out there right now that would actually take care of this. With minor changes, and as a matter of fact, it wouldn't affect anybody who's near Social Security right now, but it would make it more viable for the long-term solution that we can shore it up and actually do some good things to make it viable continuously.
All right, now there's the clip of him speaking along with the host, and I can probably understand what you're thinking right away from the start, which is, oh no, they're going to cut Social Security. That's actually not the plan. They don't want to cut Social Security, but as you've heard me say so many times over the last several years, if they do not reform Social Security, there will be an automatic cut to Social Security. Again, based on whatever report you look at, anywhere between about 19 and 28% across the board is how much benefits would be cut literally in about 6 years from right now. So what the point is, and what they're talking about here, again, Representative Rich McCormick and the host of this interview, they're basically talking about what can they do to make sure that Social Security will continue to pay out 100% of those benefits to all beneficiaries going forward, rather than seeing this huge benefit cut that we all know is coming, okay? Social Security insolvency that we know is coming in just a matter of years. And again, I know that this is not a popular topic. Nobody wants to talk about this. We don't want to talk about it. Lawmakers don't want to talk about it. The president doesn't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about this, but something needs to be done, because if they don't do anything, there will be a guaranteed cut to benefits if they do nothing, okay? That's not a good thing. So reform to Social Security is a must, and actually a really good thing. We want them to reform Social Security, because if they don't, we see a huge cut to benefits literally in about 6 years. Not a good situation whatsoever, okay? But here's the good thing for current beneficiaries and those individuals that are likely going to be eligible for Social Security within the next 10 years or so, according to what he said. And then I'll give the bad news for younger generations as well, okay? So again, about 50 or younger, give or take a little bit. are the younger generations. But then again, those individuals currently receiving benefits as well as going to receive benefits in the next 10 or so years, you're good. Okay, so based on what he said there, basically the host was asking, what are you going to do? Like, what's the plan? And basically Rich McCormick was like, we've got to do something here. And basically he thinks that it's been a long time since they've pushed out the full retirement age and maybe adjusted the tax withholdings, things like that, as far as how much payroll taxes are brought into the Social Security Trust Fund through workers and the Social Security payroll tax, right? So first things first here. Number one, he's basically suggesting pushing out the full retirement age. Okay, so right now we know it's 67. We know that there are multiple proposals, just like I've talked about, and as he mentioned in that video clip there as well, he's also mentioned that there's multiple proposals out there to push out the full retirement age, and again, to reform Social Security in a massive way, right? We've talked about this so many times over the last several years, okay? Now, the proposals range from pushing the full retirement age out to 68, 69, and even 70. I don't think they're going to do 68. I would anticipate maybe 69, most likely probably 70, realistically, okay? But if you're a current beneficiary or you're going to be receiving benefits in the next 10 or so years, do you need to freak out and be very worried about this? The answer is no. According to what Rich McCormick in this interview said, is no. You basically put a grandfather clause into it. That's what he called it, right? A grandfather clause into the legislation that states current beneficiaries will not be impacted by this. Current beneficiaries will not see their full retirement age pushed out. And even the next 10 years worth of individuals that are going to be eligible for benefits within the next 10 years. Again, give or take a little bit, these timelines, these thresholds could change as lawmakers work their way through this and negotiate the details on this, whatever it happens to be. But he's just suggesting basically putting a grandfather clause into it that basically says anybody currently on Social Security or who is going to become eligible within the next 10 years for Social Security would not be impacted by the pushing out of the full retirement age. Okay, so that would be honestly pretty good for a lot of people. However, what about younger generations? Well, he didn't exactly say this directly, but he implied this with what he said, which would be younger generations, well, sorry, you're basically going to be on the hook for paying more taxes through payroll taxes, essentially. I mean, he kind of alluded to that, but basically as well, he also alluded, again, didn't directly say it, but also alluded to that the full retirement age for younger generations, again, those individuals basically mid-50s and younger would see their full retirement age pushed out to some higher level, whatever that happens to be, 68, 69, 70, whatever they decide to do, is the full retirement age would be pushed out for these individuals. Does that kind of make sense? Right? So that is what they're talking about. And again, this is just him talking about what his plan would be, his ideas. And again, this echoes a lot of the proposals that are out there. There are so many proposals across the board to reform Social Security. The problem is lawmakers aren't doing anything about it. They're talking about it every so often. They're proposing different things every so often, and that's all. They're not doing anything else. But we recently got that other report out of the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, suggesting that Social Security will be insolvent by 2032, and at that time we will see a 28% cut to benefits at that time. Okay, so that's the most recent report that have come out. Now here in the next, 2 or so months, give or take a little bit, we should be getting the Social Security Board of Trustees annual report, and within that, we will also be getting the new projections, the insolvency date, or year, I should say, the rates in which benefits will become cut, I should say, and all the details like that, okay? Well, that is what they're suggesting here, but I just want you to hear this because, as he said in the video there, is that basically the next presidency, regardless of who that is going to have this Social Security issue on their hands. And that's 100% for sure. The next presidency after the current administration, whoever that happens to be, will have to handle this Social Security issue. If it does not get handled in the next 3 years, call it, the next administration has it 100% on them, and they have to do it, whoever that person and that administration has to be. They're going to have to do something about it. So vitally important times that we are living in right here, right now. And I just wanted to point this out for you so you can hear some of the remarks out of lawmakers for yourself as they're talking about some of the proposals, some of the ideas here. And again, just remember, this is just one of the proposals that's out there. There's a lot of proposals that are out there. There's a lot of proposals, right? So we will see. I'd imagine it's going to be a combination of raising the full retirement age as well as raising taxes. I would anticipate it's going to be a combination of both of those. Maybe they'll do some hybrid idea, something like that, where they implement even other parameters into it as well. We don't know the structure yet. That's the problem, is we don't know, and time is a ticking, and it seems like lawmakers are doing a whole lot of nothing on this whole thing. But either way, beneficiaries will be impacted regardless in a very big way. If nothing's happened, they're going to be impacted massively. And even if something is done about this, beneficiaries may still have some impacts. But again, we'll have to see once we figure out what lawmakers are actually going to do with this whole insolvency issue. Anyway, hope this helps you out. Again, please subscribe down below. Big subscribe button down below. Please share the video. Big share button down below. Otherwise, check out the well over 6,000 videos here on the channel in the video library. Until next time, please have a nice day. Take care. Hope this helps you out. And I'll catch you again later in the very next video. I'll see you for now.